What's going on with everyone? If you're a fan of the Cleveland Browns, get ready to watch the game and maybe grab some popcorn and a stress ball. What I'm going to tell you isn't just another boring football narrative. We aren't talking about football today, like X's and O's, touchdowns, or the waiver wire. No, we're delving headfirst into a story of betrayal, corporate sabotage, huge egos, and a digital breadcrumb trail that has just blown the roof off the whole Cleveland Browns organization. We are talking about a conspiracy that has been hidden in plain sight, growing in the locker room, and destroying the franchise from the inside out. And the craziest part is that it only took one swipe on a smartphone screen and one digital blink and you miss it moment of naked honesty from a $230 million quarterback to show how bad the whole thing was. Ladies and gentlemen, Deshaun Watson, who is now on the injured reserve list and rehabilitating from an Achilles injury that was supposed to keep him quiet and out of the news, has just become the most surprising whistleblower in NFL history. He just told on his own head coach, Kevin Stefanski. And by doing this, he has proven what millions of Browns fans, football experts, and online detectives have been saying for months. Kevin Stefanski is ruining the careers of quarterbacks in Cleveland one by one. But the story gets worse. Stefanski's most recent victim isn't a veteran asking for a second chance. It's none other than Shadur Sanders, the most exciting young football player out there. This story has everything you might desire in a sports drama. Corporate sabotage, huge ego battles, a quarterback graveyard that goes back years, a social media smoking gun, and at the core of it all, a fifth-round draft pick, who might be the best player on the whole team sitting on the bench. Why is he dying? Because his coach's offense is so conservative and scared of its own shadow that it makes high school football look aggressive by comparison. Let me take you on a trip because this narrative needs some background. It needs receipts, and it needs us to draw the links that the mainstream media either can't see or won't admit to seeing. We're traveling to Cleveland, Ohio, that famous tragic factory where aspirations are dashed and quarterback knees are broken. And we are going to show you exactly what has been going on behind those closed doors. The smokescreen win. The Cleveland Browns recently won a big game, 31-6, over the Miami Dolphins. It seems good on paper, doesn't it? The defense completely shut down Tagovailoa and the Dolphins' powerful attack. Even though it was cold and rainy in Cleveland, the stadium was rocking. Fans departed First Energy Stadium with the feeling that their team had turned a corner. They hoped that this season might yet be saved. But I'm here to tell you right now that winning is a lie. That win is a deception to keep you from seeing what's really going on. The scoreboard is like the magician's right hand waving in the air, while the left hand does the main trick. While everyone was praising the Browns for humbling Mike McDaniel's offense and enjoying their 31-point performance, the true story was happening behind the scenes. It was going on in secret group conversations, on encrypted applications, and on social media. It has to do with Deshaun Watson, one of the league's most costly, contentious, and quiet quarterbacks. We all know the official story now. Watson has been on injured reserve since he tore his Achilles. He has been a ghost, a $230 million phantom that haunts the halls of the Browns building. He is hardly ever talked about at press conferences, seldom ever shown on TV, and is basically forgotten about, even though he was the franchise's biggest financial investment ever. From the start, I've said that I still think Deshaun Watson will play again this season. I don't think his time in Cleveland is finished, not by a long stretch. But that's not what we're here to speak about. We're here to speak about what he's doing, his digital footprint, and the things he's doing online when he's supposed to be quietly recovering. The digital snitch. The Browns won a major game against Miami, and their defense looked great. But something far bigger was going on at the same time. Kevin Stefanski just got exposed by Deshaun Watson. And he executed it in the most current and clear way possible. He loved a video on TikTok. I know what some of you are thinking right now. It's a major deal that a TikTok like that. That's the big deal. Yes, of course. Yes, in the NFL today, where teams, agents, public relations agencies, and millions of fans keep an eye on every player's social media activity, a like isn't simply a like. It is a statement. It is a place. It's a way to tell the world what you think about something. When that kind of thing comes from a quarterback who is getting paid more guaranteed money than nearly any other player in NFL history. And when it happens during a week when his team has won, but the quarterback issue is at its worst, it's like a nuclear explosion. Especially since the video calls out his head coach for being a phony who destroys careers. I need to explain what happened on the field yesterday, so you can appreciate why Watson's social media behavior is so important. This was supposed to be the big game. Everyone had it marked on their calendars. Everyone in the football world, from fans to reporters, was watching Cleveland and wondering the same thing. Would we finally see Shadur Sanders play? The arrangement was just right. Dillon Gabriel, the starting quarterback that Cleveland picked before Sanders, had been having a hard time. At most, his performance had been average. At worst, it had been boring. People on the street and in the building were saying that Gabriel had the shortest leash in NFL history. He was done after one poor half, one interception, and one mishandled snap. The coaches would have to take him out and give Shedeur a chance. The crowd was ready to start the Shedeur chants at the first indication of difficulty. The stress was getting worse. The time seemed to have come. There were signs all over the place. Deion Sanders Jr., Shedeur's brother and best friend, the guy behind the camera of well-off media, flew to Cleveland for the game. Take a moment to think about that. Bucky flew from wherever he was to Cleveland, Ohio, where it was cold and rainy. I'm not claiming that's proof that Shedeur was going to play, but come on, think about it. Think about it. What other reason might he have for going? This was supposed to be a big deal. The first time the most touted fifth-round choice in NFL history would play, and the offense would be hurt. Kevin Stefanski, on the other hand, had other ideas. The so-called maestro of offense, the man who has miraculously won Coach of the Year twice, the guy with the laminated play sheet who has fooled half of the football world into thinking he knows what he's doing on offense. He did the most obvious act of sabotage I've ever seen in professional sports. He killed his own offense by choking it. He choked it. He choked it. He developed a game plan that was so conservative and scared of putting his quarterback in a scenario where he might have to throw the ball that it was almost a joke. The Browns ran the ball, then they ran it again, and when they had to throw, they threw checkdowns and screen passes that didn't go anywhere. Then they ran the ball again. Stefanski didn't coach to win. He was coaching so that his team wouldn't lose. More importantly, he was coaching to make sure Dillon Gabriel didn't mess up badly enough to get pulled. Let me give you the numbers because they tell a story that is quite bad. Dillon Gabriel, the starting quarterback for a club that won by 25 points, threw 13 of 18 passes for 116 yards. Please read that again. 116 yards in a full four-quarter NFL game in 2025, when passing rules favor offensive, and the team dominated the game from start to finish. Gabriel only threw the ball 18 times, and none of those passes were touchdowns. For context, Tagovailoa tossed the ball 23 times for the losing squad, who got completely destroyed. The quarterback who lost threw more passes than the quarterback who won. That's not a plan for the game. That's not a plan for offense. That is giving up. That is being a coward. That's a head coach who is so afraid of his quarterback making a mistake that he'd rather win ugly with 116 passing yards than take the chance of genuinely opening up the offense. And here's the best part. Dillon Gabriel hasn't given the ball away yet. Not one interception or fumble lost. And do you know why? It's not because he's been really careful or savvy with the football. Kevin Stefanski has wrapped him with bubble wrap. He has put training wheels on his quarterback. He has designed an offensive so easy, so safe, and so free of everything that may go wrong that Gabriel can't make a mistake because he never has to make a real choice. What made Stefanski do this? Why would he purposely hurt his own offense? Why would he use a 1970s ground-and-pound attack when the league has never been more receptive to passing? The answer is clear, but it's also quite frustrating since he is scared of what will happen next. He understands that as soon as Gabriel throws that first interception or makes that big mistake, the crowd will turn against him. The crowd will start to chant for Shedeur. The media will start to wonder why the better quarterback is sitting on the bench. Stefanski will have to play the youngster he doesn't want to play after the experiment is over. Stefanski has chosen to protect his own ego and stubborn quarterback preferences by basically taking the quarterback position out of the equation completely. This means that he won't let his offense breathe, won't use the weapons he has, and won't give his team the best chance to score points and win games convincingly. He would rather win 13-10 with 100 yards passing than 42-35 with 350 yards from Shadur Sanders. This is the most cowardly and open act of coaching self-preservation I have ever witnessed. The bombshell Tik Tok. And now we're back to the bombshell. Now let's talk about Deshaun Watson and the Tik Tok that is becoming viral on all social media sites. At this point, the $230 million franchise quarterback felt he couldn't stay quiet any longer. This is what really happened. On October 9th, a Browns fan named Chad and the Dumb Browns supporters produced a TikTok video that was basically a long, angry diatribe on Kevin Stefanski's offensive strategy. Chad makes a point in the video that Browns fans have been making for years. Every quarterback that Kevin Stefanski has looks horrible, but then they leave Cleveland and suddenly they are back to being good somewhere else. Chad talks about Baker Mayfield in particular. He had a lot of trouble under Stefanski, got kicked out of Cleveland, and then went to Tampa Bay, where he has played some of the finest football of his career. He talks about Joe Flacco, who just came off the injured reserve list and played better in Week 7 than he ever did under the Stefanski system. There is no denying the pattern. There is a lot of proof. Every quarterback who joins the Kevin Stefanski method seems good at first, but then they depart looking broken and have to start again somewhere else. Chad asks what he calls a real question in the video. Are we sure Deshaun Watson is bad? Kevin Stefanski has had a lot of bad quarterbacks. Then they join a new team, find themselves again, and are amazing. That's a reasonable question. It is a question that gets to the heart of what's going on in Cleveland. Is it the quarterbacks who are to blame? Is it the system, though? Are the players to blame? Is it the coach, though? And then the big news came. Deshaun Watson liked the video. He didn't just watch it and go on. He didn't touch the screen by mistake. He saw a fan video that directly called out his head coach and said that Stefanski ruins quarterback careers. This made Watson think that maybe his problems aren't all his fault, and he pushed the favorite button. He signed it digitally. He gave it his mark of approval. He transmitted a message to everyone who was listening. This fan is telling the truth. The fan who put up the video was shocked. He went back to social media to post the screenshot that showed Deshaun Watson liked his work. "Wow," he remarked. "So does that mean Deshaun agrees? Does Deshaun just like it when I crash out like I always do? I have no idea. I do know that every quarterback who leaves Kevin Stefanski becomes a better quarterback. Cleveland is always exciting. We need to be very clear about what just transpired. This isn't just a backup linebacker liking a fan post. This isn't a player on the practice squad who is angry. The Browns gave up their whole future to get this player, the franchise quarterback. The man who is meant to be the face of the company for the next few years publicly agreeing with a fan's critique of his own coach. That's never happened before. That is very dangerous. That kind of thing can break up a locker room and get individuals fired. Shadur Sanders, look at the big picture. Some people might try to ignore this. They'll say Watson was simply protecting himself and that he loved the video because it makes him seem good and shows that he's not the problem. And yes, that's part of it. Watson has every right to be angry about how his time in Cleveland has gone. People have been very critical of him. He has been in the middle of a lot of controversy. He had a hard time on the field, and now he's hurt and watching from the sidelines as the same broken offensive system fails with yet another quarterback. But this is where it all ties back to the main tale, the one that everyone who is watching everything unfold cares about the most: Shadur Sanders. Deshaun Watson isn't simply in a secluded place getting better from his injury. He is inside the building. He is at those meetings. He is on that side of the field during games. He sees everything we do and possibly a lot more that we don't. He sees the most exciting collegiate quarterback in a long time. A kid with great arm strength and calmness had to sit on the sidelines and watch a quarterback throw for 116 yards in a blowout win. He sees a head coach who is intentionally trying to keep his best player off the field by constructing his offense around him. Watson sees Kevin Stefanski using the same system that made Baker Mayfield look bad and hurt his career. That made Joe Flacco look like he was done. That has made Watson look like a shadow of the Pro Bowl player he used to be. And now he is watching it happen to another young quarterback, another victim whose career is being cut short before it even starts. He is watching Shadur Sanders endure the same treatment, being buried on the depth chart, not because of his talent or performance, but because of coaching ego and problems with the company. Watson couldn't keep quiet any longer. He couldn't keep it to himself. He couldn't stand to see another quarterback's career ruined by the same system that has ruined so many others. But he also couldn't say it directly. He wasn't able to hold a press conference. He couldn't tweet it himself. That would be too blatant, too confrontational, and too much of a direct challenge to the coaches. He did the next best thing. He discovered a fan who was brave enough to state what everyone else was thinking, and he rewarded that person the best cosign ever. He liked the video. He set off the signal flare. He told the world that this is real. This is correct. And someone on the inside agrees with what you see. What is Stefanski's reason for doing this? This has huge repercussions. This backs up what Brown's followers and others who aren't fans have been saying for months. Kevin Stefanski is purposefully, systematically, and on purpose sabotaging Shadur Sanders. Why is that? What could a head coach possibly want to do to keep his best quarterback on the bench while running an offense that hardly uses the passing game? There are a few ideas, and they all make Stefanski look very bad. The first theory is the scorched earth policy. Stefanski realizes that his job is in danger. He understands that no matter what happens, he will probably be fired at the conclusion of the season. He has resolved to go down with the players he chose and trained, not the player that management or ownership made him take. It is self-destructive behavior fueled by ego that leads to the house burning down as he leaves. The second theory is called the anti-prime bias. This hypothesis is easier to understand, but just as bad. Stefanski just doesn't like Shadur Sanders. He doesn't like the excitement. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He doesn't appreciate having Deion Primetime Sanders' son on his team, since it brings a lot of media attention. He calls himself a no-nonsense coach and wants a no-nonsense quarterback, even if that quarterback can only throw for 116 yards in a four-quarter game. His ego is so big, so sensitive, and so unable to tolerate anything that questions his authority that he would rather lose than win with a player who is everything he doesn't like. Theory number 3. The system is more important than the talent. One of the most troubling ideas is that Stefanski really thinks his system is more important than each person's aptitude. He believes he can win games if he executes his system precisely the way he sees it, and has a quarterback who does exactly what he says, without asking questions or being creative. It is the most extreme form of coaching arrogance. He would rather have a poor quarterback who does what he's told than a brilliant quarterback who might not always follow the rules. No matter which theory is right, or if it's a mix of all three, the end outcome is the same. Shadur Sanders is being kept from demonstrating what he can do on purpose. He is being put at the bottom of the depth chart, even though he is the best quarterback on the team. He is on the bench watching his head coach execute an offense that is so cautious that it makes prevent defense look aggressive. And now we have proof from within the building that this isn't just fan speculation or a media story, thanks to Deshaun Watson's digital trail. This is real. This is going on. And someone who has been through it all just told the whole world about it, the way things are being destroyed. We should also discuss about when Watson's liking happened, since that counts too. This wasn't just some casual scrolling through social media in the midst of the week. This happened soon after the game in Miami, right after Stefanski used a very conservative game strategy. Dillon Gabriel passed for 116 yards just after that. Deion Sanders Jr. came to Cleveland to see his brother play, but he only saw him stand on the sideline for 4 quarters. Watson watched everything happen. He watched the evident sabotage happening in real time, and chose that opportunity to send his message. The mainstream media is going to try to hide this story. They will say it was an accident, like Watson was simply scrolling through Tik Tok and his thumb slipped. They will say that we are making too much of a simple conversation on social media. Don't even think about it. Professional players, especially those who have been in the league as long as Watson and have had to deal with as much media attention as he has, are very careful about what they post on social media. They know that every post, like, and follow will be looked at and talked about. Watson knew exactly what he was doing when he pushed that favorite button. He knew what he was saying, yet he did it nonetheless because the truth had to come out. This is also part of a bigger pattern that has been happening in Cleveland for a long time. The Browns have become a quarterback graveyard, where promising quarterbacks go to perish. Baker Mayfield came to Cleveland as the first overall choice, full of confidence and bravado. He looked broken and defeated when he departed. Deshaun Watson was one of the most exciting young quarterbacks in the game when he played for Houston. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler. In Cleveland, he has seemed like a shadow of himself. Joe Flacco enjoyed a little flash of success, but in the end, he couldn't keep it up in Stefanski's system. The pattern is clear, and Shadur Sanders is now in danger of becoming the next victim. It makes things much more frustrating that we've seen Shedeur play. We saw him in Colorado, where the spotlight was at its sharpest. We saw him pass for well than 3,000 yards and had a great touchdown-to-interception ratio. We witnessed him handle stress, throw from varied angles, digest information fast, and lead his team in tough road games. We saw him show all the traits you want in a franchise quarterback. And now they are telling him to sit down, shut up, and wait his time behind a quarterback who can't throw for more than 120 yards in a blowout win. The bad locker room. The locker room must be rather poisonous right now. Players can see. They see the same things we do. Every day they watch Shedeur practice. They know what sort of arm talent he has, what kind of leader he is, and how hard he works. They also see their head coach purposely keeping that talent on the bench while running an offense that makes their jobs harder. Wide receivers don't want to see their team run the ball 40 times a game. They want to catch passes. They want a quarterback who can throw the ball far, attack defenses from above, and offer them chances to make plays. Shedeur can accomplish everything. Based on what we've observed, Dillon Gabriel can't or won't be able to. This is a bomb that is about to go off. You can only hold back talent for so long until it blows up. You can only trick the supporters for so long before they get angry.